Welcome to this video. Today I have a very special guest. She's the brand new Swiss Brewers Cup Champion, Sierra Yo. Hi, Sierra.
Hi.
And the best thing, I'm even super proud and happy because Sierra is part of our team since a couple of weeks and is supporting us with content and also with green coffee. But now we will be talking about the Brewers Cup, about the coffee you brought. And yeah, first of all, you just won Brewers Cup about 3 days ago. Maybe you can tell a little bit what happened on the weekend. How do you feel? How was the weekend for you? What happened there?
Sure. Where do I start? I knew super early on that I wanted to compete to represent Switzerland.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know, I actually lived in the UK for a while and then won the Brewers Cup there in 2022 and then moved over to Switzerland shortly after. So then in the competition, you have to wait 2 years before you can represent the country that you are resident in. So I had to do that. I had to do my time. So then I got to represent. I get to represent Switzerland at the World in Brussels next year, in June 2026, which is super fun. The weekend was so much fun for me. I have a great team that supported me. I knew very early on that I wanted to compete this year, and I think that process was just very smooth.
Yeah.
The weekend was quite competitive. We had the most competitive Brewers Cup for a long time already. So, people were really excited to take part in this category, and I'm very happy to be able to represent.
Yeah. And for those who haven't ever participated in the Brewers Cup, what happened or what stages were there until then the final decision was taken?
So there are two services to Brewers Cup. So one of them is called the open service and one of them is called the compulsory service. The compulsory service is where everyone's given the same equipment, the same coffee, the same water, and you essentially have to be creative and try to brew the best 3 cups possible. And we call that 3 separate and unique cups. So you can't make a big batch and then serve 3 judges. You have to make them all individually, equally consistent, equally good. This happened in September or October earlier this year. And then those points carry over into the finals, which happened this weekend, the semis and the finals that happened this weekend. And in the semis, we have to do the open service, which is the other category, where you have 10 minutes to present a coffee of your choice, with a brewer of your choice and equipment of your choice. So this is where you get very flexible and very creative. You present this presentation that is a theme of your choice as well, and then the coffee has to be supported by that presentation. So yeah. So then those 2 categories basically determine who gets into the finals. In this particular competition, we did 1 round of open service, which then determined who the 4 finalists were out of the 8 people that competed. And then the finals are determined by your compulsory score from earlier this year, plus your final open service.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And how is it? So the scores, are they based on the cup quality or are they based on the presentation or is it a mixture?
It's a mixture of both. So there are separate categories in the score sheets that you get, but primarily I would say it's very cup dependent. So it's not just about being able to speak. It's also about being able to brew.
Yeah.
It's also about being able to brew on stage at the same time. So, yeah.
Although I also have to say, because I didn't try the coffee yet, I just saw your presentation and I thought it was really a super strong presentation. So we will also then put the link to the presentation down there if you haven't seen it and want to watch it. And you had a beautiful stage present. I also saw you before you went on the stage, like you had your headphones on and then you were turned a little bit away. Was it kind of to bring you in a mood or what happened there? So
Yeah. I think mental preparation is so important in a lot of these things. For me, I'm really quite sensitive to external stimuli. So those were noise canceling headphones that you see when you watch the routine. And the thing about Brewers Cup that's maybe a little bit different from other competitions is that the coffee changes so much so quickly. So any factor from like ambient temperature and humidity to like the amount of grind time that you have for the coffee, all these little things can make a difference. So for us, for example, the coffee was ground 30 minutes before the presentation time, but depending on how long you get on stage and the delays from the programming and things like that, that can obviously change because the coffee is just sitting there. So that's one thing that we have to factor for. And in addition, you only get that much time from your last dial-in brew. So you try to brew the coffee as close to your performance time as possible to get the correct flavor notes. Or what you think the judges will experience most accurately according to what you experience. So I was really only given 30 minutes, 45 minutes maximum to memorize my final flavor notes for the stage. And that's what you see me doing, or that's what you saw me doing when I had my headphones and I was trying to remember the latest flavor note. So I had a little like rap going in my head.
Oh, yeah. Because I was thinking you were listening to music, but then you told me you were rapping.
I was rapping
notes.
I was just rapping. So that's one of the challenges of Brewers.
Do you still remember the flavor notes?
Yes, I do. It's rose and grape and hints of peach. Rose and grape and peach and jasmine with hints of mandarin. That was me. That was me on stage.
Nice. So, and now we talked a little bit about the flavor notes already.
Yes.
But let's go to the coffee. Maybe you can tell a little bit about the coffee that you presented, that you brought to your open service.
Yes. So I was very happy to use the Tumas pre-dried cold fermentation natural. It's a bit of a complicated process, but essentially this was produced by a lovely lady called Corinne. She used to work in fine dining and also had just a lot of experiences abroad. And so the way that she decided to process this coffee was that she pre-dried the whole cherries for 5 days. Then she put them in bags, grain pro bags, sealed them, and placed them under river water that was on the mountain of Mount Tumas.
Cold water then?
Cold to, room to cold. And then that was for 15 days. And then she would dry the cherries that came back out for 8 weeks between raised beds and mechanical dryers. So it was just like a constant process. That's obviously a very long process, which then justifies the price. It was very expensive, but also the quality. So what this gave us in the cup, on the final day was, like, as I said, rose, grape, peach, mandarin, lots of honey. And it's been very red fruits or yellow fruits for us, which is super lovely.
Wow, interesting.
This is actually the bag from the finals. It says finals dial-in 65 grams. So very, very, from the competition itself.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And it was a geisha?
It was a geisha, yes. Sorry, yes. So pre-dried cold fermentation natural geisha.
You said the producer, or what was again the name of the producer?
The producer is Corinne, and Mount Tumas is based in Chiriquí, Panama. So obviously a country very well known for its geisha.
And do you have a story on how you found the coffee? Because I think it's probably quite a way then also to find the right coffee for your Brewers Cup.
Yes. I mean, some people ask me if I made up the story for the routine, because, some people do that. But it really was exactly as I said it. I went to Panama earlier this year, and it was my first time visiting Mount Tumas. I had always wanted to go, and we were in the region. So we went and paid Corinne a visit, and we're very lucky to cup with her some of her lots. And the minute I tasted this coffee, I was like, wow, okay, if I come back to the stage, this is the one. And so then after that cupping, we spoke to her and we were like, can we have a few kilos if I were to compete again? And she was very kind to say yes. So that's exactly what happened. I tasted it, I said yes, and then that's basically when the preparation started.
Oh, okay. Nice. And the coffee has been roasted by Rose, so you have been there with Matt, and then is it also possible for people that are interested to kind of get or try the coffee or buy it or?
Yes. So I started to work with Rose Coffee Roasters, which was founded by my husband, Matt Winton, who's also the World Brewers Cup Champion 2021. So I had a lot of help and a lot of support.
Yeah.
I'm a very privileged competitor. Um, but yeah, this coffee is available. We have already been retailing it for a little while here and there, but because the coffee is so expensive, they come in very limited drops.
Yeah.
And we will be doing another release by the time this video is up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can find it on the web shop, hopefully this week or next week. And yeah, and then we'll also be taking it on tour as well, which is usually what happens after a competition win. So
Yeah. Okay. We will then later also a little bit more talking about Sierra, and then we will also be putting then the links down for Rose and Sierra so that you can find out where Sierra is, because you will most probably then have the possibility to meet her somewhere, drink a cup of coffee that she brewed. But now coming back to the Brewers Cup, here's the other things. Here's the equipment that you used.
yeah.
Can you tell a little bit about the equipment?
Yeah, I mean, so in my line of work, because I also freelance a lot, I get the chance to travel very much and see lots of different equipment that people are using all over the world. And this particular dripper actually came to us in Asia. I think it was in Thailand that I saw it earlier this year. Essentially, it is a flat-based dripper. It's called the Flow dripper from Hario, and it was made by a lovely gentleman called Eric Liao from Taiwan. And it looks very interesting. It is actually not fully flat. It's slightly convex. So a full flat base would look like this, but it's slightly tipped upwards. And there are spokes inside, so a bit like a wheel, if you can see. And then the bottom has small holes where the wedges of the dripper lead to the holes, and that's kind of how the coffee flows out.
Yeah.
What is most interesting about this is actually what I call the column, the center column. It has a magnet on the base.
Yeah.
So what you would do is you would put the filter paper in and then put the magnet on, and then you would proceed to rinse your filter paper, so on and so forth. But then what happens is it makes the coffee a donut shape, the coffee bed, which is not very common. And that impacts the extraction, essentially. It's quite a slow, for me, in my experience, it's quite a slow flowing dripper. So it was actually, in the recipe that I use, we do add water even while there's still water inside the dripper. So there's always fresh water flowing in the top. But then it draws down fairly slowly for the coffee that we use. And it results in the extraction that we use, 18.7 to like 19.5%. So yeah, quite a, I guess I would say, optimum to low range.
And for those of you who are brewers, by the way, we will then at the end of this video also share the recipe. So Sierra will brew the coffee, actually did on the stage, and share her recipe. So make sure you stay until the end of the video.
Yeah.
But coming back then, also the server that you have has a little bit an interesting shape, a shape that I haven't seen before.
Yeah, so this one, this is the Icosa Cyclone Mini or small version. They do have a bigger version, and it's made by Icosa Brewhouse, who are some friends that are based in Chiang Mai in Thailand. And this server has a very unique design, and you've probably seen it in a lot of competitions, either at the national or the world's level. They have ridges in the inside of the server built to aerate the coffee. So they're kind of shaped like fins a little bit. And essentially, whichever direction you swirl the coffee, it maximizes the aroma intensity. But it's also interesting because there's a dome in the middle that catches the coffee as it flows down from your dripper to prevent splashing. Because the more you splash, the more you oxidize, and then the coffee obviously changes. So make sure that there's a gentle catch, and then only when you want to experience the aroma do you get to aerate as much as you want. So and that's how this works.
A bit like people do it with wine then also.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah.
Nice. Oh, okay. Thank you for sharing. And as said, We will be then later also sharing the recipe, so make sure you stay. But now, since I think there will be a lot of people watching this who are maybe also interested in participating at one time at Brewers Cup, and you said you're actually 2 times like national champion in Brewers Cup. You have been judging Brewers Cup. You have been emceeing on stage. You just know a lot of people in the competition scene and have seen a lot. So are there maybe some things that you learned or some tips or recommendations that you could share with anybody who would like to participate on the Brewers Cup?
Um, yeah, I mean, I think that for me, Brewers Cup is so democratic. I think that, because there's a compulsory and an open service, it's not enough just to be able to be on stage and have good stage presence and, good memory and say a few nice words. You also have to actually be able to brew coffee. You have to be able to multitask. And then with the compulsory service, like it it tests your ability as a barista. Can you receive a mystery coffee and be able to dial it in well enough, to impress the judges? So I think because of those two components of this competition, it makes it a very fun, also very accessible way to compete. Um, in terms of tips and tricks, the biggest, I would say, advantage that I've had is I used to be in the drama club at school. And I'm very used to being on stage. The emceeing also helps a lot. And I do see what the whole process is, both for competitors and someone who's trying to make them feel better on stage. Like MCs are there to also calm you down and make you feel that. So that gives me a lot of stage training, which I think is a very overlooked part of competitions. Because it doesn't matter how much you train. If you go on stage and you start getting nerves, then your pouring is impacted, your confidence is impacted. So really exposing yourself to that kind of training, being on stage, performing for strangers, talking to strangers, is super important. So for people who want to be involved more, like I would say, volunteer in your local competitions more. You get to see the backstage, you get to see what happens on stage. Um, talk to people. You can message myself or Matt online. Talk to people that inspire you, that have stage presence or a vibe that you really enjoy. Ask them for advice, and drink as much coffee as possible, because I think only through tasting as many things as possible do you think, hey, this is something I would like to represent, or this is the flavor profile I like.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, thanks for sharing. I think that's an important part because, of course, I mean, you can brew at home and then train at home. But then when you're, in a stage, it's just, I mean, it was the Swiss Coffee Festival. It's a beautiful festival. And then maybe there are even some bigger festivals, depending on where you are. But then there will be just a lot of people sitting there, maybe friends or people that you know or other people, and you're on the stage. And
And you just have to be ready for that. But at the same time, like for me, I do a lot of meditation practice as well, and a lot of mindfulness, and I think that's also becoming more and more popular, which is amazing. So that also helped a lot in the preparation process. So.
Okay, thanks for sharing.
No worries.
And because usually when I do interviews, I start with introducing the people. I give them the opportunity to talk a little bit about them. With you, and we now directly started because I saw it was so, I mean, it was 3 days ago, so I just wanted to grab the feelings and what's happened there. But nevertheless, I would like to, then also give you the opportunity to introduce yourself to those people who don't know you yet. So who you are and what you're doing in coffee, and then maybe also where people can find out more about you.
Sure. So, hi guys, my name is Ciario. I'm a coffee educator, public speaker, writer, and also I work behind the scenes with Ingo to produce Roast Rebels content on social media. Um, I have been working in coffee for 12 years at this point. It's been a long time. And I'm also very involved also in the competition scene, which is super exciting. And I also co-run Rose Coffee Roasters with my husband, Matt Winton. And we are a little roastery based in Zurich, where all of us are. And I'm super excited to be able to do more of this stuff. And I think my freelance lifestyle allows me to do a lot of exciting things, such as being able to showcase this video today. So
Good. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
No worries.
And then next weeks you will be also traveling then. So maybe if people will be then at the coffee festivals, they will be able to meet you.
Yeah.
So I will put your Instagram then also down there so that they can follow you, support you, but then also find out where you are.
Sounds good.
And beside of that, I just hope that this video was nice for you. It was helpful for you. And as promised, now to end the video, Sierra will then show how she brewed the coffee, show her recipe so that you can then also take it at home and hopefully then repeat it and get a beautiful cup of coffee also for yourself.
Hi guys, my name is Sierra Yo and I am the newly crowned Swiss Brewers Cup Champion 2026. I'll be representing Switzerland at the World in Brussels next year. And today I am recreating my recipe from what I competed with on stage. So to start off, we have the coffee that I'm using, which is a Mounted Tumas Cloud Forest pre-dried natural geisha. What Karen did with the coffee, Karen is the producer of this lovely coffee. And what Karen did was she pre-dried the cherries for 5 days, fermented them in sealed bags and placed them under cool river water for 15 days, and then dried it over 8 weeks, which is a very long and complex process, resulting in something that tastes absolutely spectacular. So without further ado, I'm going to start brewing. So today I am using a very unique dripper that's not really commonly found in Europe. It is called the Flow Dripper from Hario. It is a flat-based dripper with a column in the middle, which means that the coffee bed becomes a bit of a donut shape. It increases our bed depth while allowing me to still use a smaller dose of coffee today, which is 14 grams to 230 grams of water at 94 degrees Celsius. I do a 40-gram bloom and then 3 pours after that. And I try to agitate really gently because I found that this really impacts the extraction a lot. Yeah, and what we found were some really nice notes of grape, peach, mandarin, lots of rose. Just a very tasty, very clean, natural. I am also using the Icosa server, which allows me to experience the aroma at full intensity because of the ridges that are built on the inside to aerate the coffee. So that's also kind of how I presented it to the judges as well. So this is now my third pour. Perfect. I'm also using a waved filter paper because I think that that really allows the right amount of bypass for the coffee to be tasting as good as it did. We were sitting at about 18.7 to 19.5% extraction, which gave us a very good strength to be able to support the sweetness of this coffee, which is a nice honey sweetness as well. And now I'm up to my final pour. "230 grams. Perfect. And then I am also using the Sense glass today, which is what I used for the judges on stage. It's produced by a company called Aurea, who also produce lovely drippers as well. And the reason why I decided to serve it in a glass is frankly because the coffee tasted the nicest. And if you haven't experienced tasting coffee out of a glass, you know, like a wine glass or a wine glass shaped glass, go ahead and give it a try. I think it gives the coffee a lot of clarity and a lot of sweetness and really allows you to distinguish the layers in the coffee as well. So we are now at a drawdown time of 2:45, which was also what we did on stage. The water that I'm using today, as I said, was 94 degrees Celsius. Currently, it's sitting at about 70 ppm, but during the competition, we started with a lower ppm of, say, 20 to 30, and then built it up from there by adding our own minerals. In the case of this coffee, we added magnesium sulfate to promote a bit more vibrancy in the acidity, and then calcium chloride for a nice mouthfeel that was very silky. Yeah. So as you can see, this is now the finished coffee. When you swirl it, you can create kind of these micro bubbles and then experience the aroma. So if you would like to purchase this coffee, we will have a limited drop on the Rose Coffee Roasters website, which will be available in the link below. So go ahead and check it out, and hopefully you'll be able to recreate this at home as well. See you.